Welcome to the Brand Boss Show, empowering you to rock your brand like a boss. This show exists to share all the tools, tips, and secrets you need to maximize the impact of your brand.
Welcome back, Brand Boss. This week, we have a very special treat for you that I have been excited about and nerding out about all day. So let me, without further ado, introduce our guest this week. Dr. Darlene Mayo is a neurosurgeon and neuroscientist whose passion is helping you get breakthrough in your health and your business by using innovative tools in brain science so you can achieve your potential and fulfill your destiny. Dr. Mayo earned her undergraduate degree from Duke University, completed medical school and neurosurgery residency at the Medical College of Georgia, clinical and research fellowships at UCLA, Emory, Mayo Clinic, and the Atomic Energy Commission in Grenoble, France. She practiced as a neurosurgeon for 10 years and has conducted research in how to use neuroscience to maximize the function of the brain for the last 20 years. Dr. Mayo is founder and CEO of Avuka, did I pronounce that right? Mm-hmm. Avuka MD PLLC, a consulting company whose focus is on bringing holistic health in the world. In her subsidiary company, Neuroscience Ninjas, I love that name, she helps you tailor website marketing strategies using buyer psychology principles founded in neuroscience to help you turn browsers into buyers and prospects into clients. Dr. Mayo is also certified as an executive coach and an educator, is widely sought after speaker, and a celebrated author. Thank you so much for being here today. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. I am so delighted to be here. I love what you do, and anything I can contribute to your audience, I am delighted to do that.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. This is kind of a pinch me moment. It's not every day that I get to have a neurosurgeon, neuroscientist on the podcast. So I know I just read your bio, but do you want to share a little bit about your background with our listeners?
Yeah. So one of the questions I usually get is like, okay, so you're a neurosurgeon. So what are you doing now doing consulting? How does that even work? And that is an incredible story in and of itself. But I'll tell you, a key for me was wanting to actually make the transition out of medicine into something else when I adopted my children, because I wanted a better lifestyle. But I had been told my whole life, Darlene, you are a neurosurgeon. That is all you can do. That is what you spent 17 years going to school for. That is your skill set. That is what you have to do. And I was stuck in that mindset because I didn't know my true identity. But as soon as I tapped into who I really was, who I am, and all the things that make that up, yeah, I could be a neurosurgeon. I can also be CEO of a company and do many, many other things too. So it was an incredible breakthrough moment. And I'll tell you, the moment I made that transition, which was pretty quick, I'm the kind of person decides I'm going to do it, and I do it. I left my practice, started my own business, and the freedom I felt with that was absolutely incredible. And I love that. When you tap into who you are, that is the greatest thing that you will ever experience, is that freedom.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's one of the things we're really passionate about that I say all the time here is when you know who you are, you can function from that place.
Yes.
And, the piece that came to me recently that I've been learning more and more is that when you know who you are not, you can function in freedom. And that is really key.
Yeah, that is a really good point. I love that you said that. One thing people don't know about the brain is that where your identity is stored is in the same area as your goal-directed behavior.
Really?
So the reason that is so important is this. Whoever you think you are, that has to be the place from which you set the goals. So if you are taking some course and somebody says, these are your goals, X, Y, and Z, but that's not consistent with who you believe you are, you're actually not going to do the things that you need to do to get those things done. You have to know who you are, and you have to believe that you are that person in order to have any goals you set actually fulfilled. This is why people, if you find yourself procrastinating on a regular basis with something, you're not operating out of your true identity, period, the end. I mean, once in a while, fine, but all the time, nope. There's something there to learn. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Let's just go there for a minute. I know we have another question we're going to get to, but let's just dig into that for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the situation. If you believe you are a person, for example, that looks good on camera and you like to do videos, right? And that is your wheelhouse and you love connecting people and teaching people in that way, then yeah, you can set a goal to start a YouTube channel and you can go to the top and get 1 million subscribers right away. However, if you're the kind of person that believes you can only make an impact when you're one-on-one in very intimate, quiet settings away from the world, you can follow the exact same pattern, exact same strategy, and you're probably not even going to do what you're supposed to do to get to those 1 million subscribers, right? But if you do, you're not going to do it in a way that's going to draw them into you. So it's really, really key, which is why I love what you do with Brand Boss, because you throw out the formula, right? And you say, look, let's get to know who you are, what you're about, and let's show the world that. And that's just beautiful.
Absolutely. Man, I love that how identity is stored in the same place in your brain as goal setting.
Mhm.
That's so huge because when it comes to business, everybody is always like goal setting, goal setting, goal setting. Like there's so much talk about goals. Do you have a SMART goal? Do you know, all this stuff. And to know that that piece is intricately connected with your identity,
Mhm.
man, that's so eye-opening. I mean, it makes sense, right? When you say this, even though it's like, whoa, I never thought about this before, it just makes sense. It makes sense that you are going to engage wholeheartedly and go after the goals that are in alignment with who you are.
Yeah.
But just this fact that I think so much of, and I want to tread carefully because I'm very big into personal development as well, but I think so many times there is this focus on do more and get more done and
Mhm.
goals, that what you're saying, or what I'm hearing you say, is that if you miss the identity piece, this will only get you so far. And you never, even if you maybe achieve those goals, you probably won't, but even if you do,
Mhm.
there won't be that sense of satisfaction and
Right.
fulfillment. And this is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly, I think we've all probably set goals we've accomplished, but not really felt great about them when they're done. Okay, they're done. They're off of the to-do list. Like, if you ever checked off something off your to-do list and you're like, thank God that's done. Well, that may not be something that you ever should have been doing in the first place, right? But when you check off that to-do list and you say, wow, I really feel like I've made an impact in somebody's life or an impact in my life, then you've got a clue there that you're really operating out of your true identity. But one thing I want to share is that so many times, even with my story, right, we think our identity is one thing, but it's actually something else. Like, your true identity is actually born in you. Okay, it is actually part of your DNA. It is stored in your subconscious, and then as we go through life, we listen to our parents, our teachers, our friends tell us, oh, what we can do, what we can't do, who we are, who is a good person to be, right? What is it good to be? And then every time you hear somebody say something, if you don't directly refute it, it actually lays down a track in your brain. Okay.
Yeah.
So you begin to take in over time, the more times you hear the same thing, those tracks in your brain, they get deeper and deeper and deeper. Just like you walk a path in the woods once, it's sort of there, but you walk it 100 times and that path is well formed. So what happens over time is your true identity can get covered up by these other pathways that are actually not real. And you can believe you are something that you are not. And I call that your brain being caught in jail. So one of the things I love doing is helping to take off those limits, right? The limits of your mind about who you can be and who you really are, and then bringing up to the surface the truth about people. That is one of my favorite things to do, because you know this, when somebody connects with their identity and you see that light bulb moment, and it is the most amazing thing. It is the most rewarding thing for me, as I know it is for you too.
It is. I mean, it's so powerful, whether it's a person or a business, right? Like, whenever you align with the actual identity of who you are, of who your business is, it just sets so much in motion. That to me is where, for our clients and in my own life, where I've seen the biggest breakthroughs, because when you align with your original intent, with your identity, with the identity that was woven in you, there is nothing more powerful than that.
Right. Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
love that your brain literally aligns with it.
Yes, I know. It's great to understand the science behind it. It's not just this. Sometimes we read these self-help books and we think, oh, well, what is that? Does that really work? But yes, in this case, there is 100% science behind what you do, and I love that.
So, this whole mindset shift, right? We say this all the
Mhm.
time, it's a mindset shift. You're actually, correct me if I'm wrong here, you can speak to the science of this. By the way, I love science, so feel free to get as sciencey as you want today. Um, you're actually undoing tracks that have
Yes,
been laid down so that
yes,
you can get to what's really there. So it's
absolutely.
not just a mindset shift, it's a mindset jailbreak.
Yes, I love that. That's a great phrase right there. Mindset jailbreak. I might use that with your
Go for
permission.
it. Go for it.
Because that it really is. You're literally breaking down those pathways in the brain and removing them and allowing it's like a butterfly coming out of its cocoon, right? What are you truly made to be? And as soon as we learn to take off those limits, and we do that by breaking down, those other things, then the true you shines through, and it's awesome.
So that's so powerful. Wow. So I know we have some other things we want to get into, but I also know that you have some keys about this that you wanted to share. So let's just go there. Why don't you dig into those?
Yeah. So, as far as getting to know your true identity, sometimes people get a little stuck with that. They either say, oh, I know exactly who I am, but then maybe their customers are not connecting with them. And I'll tell you, if your customers are not connecting with you, it's because you don't really know who you are and you're not presenting that, or you're not presenting that well, or usually a combination thereof. So, some things that we have to do, we've talked about jailbreaking your mind, right? So, I walk my clients through a creativity exercise, so based in brain science. So it seems very simple, but it's going to do something powerful. So I have you do something like draw a picture of something, a flower, a boat, whatever you want to draw, right? Just something simple. Don't have to be an artist. And then close your eyes. And then I want you to imagine the most beautiful, intricate version of that you can possibly imagine. So, you draw a rose, for example, right? Simple little thing with the stem. And then you close your eyes and you remember this most beautiful rose you've ever seen, with all the details on the petals and the leaves and the stems and all of this. And then I ask you to open your eyes and draw it again without looking at your previous picture. That is an exercise that is
Wow.
amazing. It lights up the creativity centers in your brain, and it begins to allow the brain chemicals to change in such a way that you can really start breaking down those other pathways quickly and really highlighting the pathways that you want, which are based on your true identity. So that's number one. And then number two is you want to actually get your brain frequency into a place that allows you to tap into your subconscious. So we want to get into what's called a theta rhythm, which is a very slow rhythm in your brain. And what we do, you can get into that through meditation or through prayer, whatever your choice is. And just if you do meditation, then it's really doing a breathing meditation and just leaving your mind blank for 2 to 3 minutes is all you need, right? Focus on your breathing for that time. If you pray, just pray and praise, nothing specific, no request, just pray, just be. And now your brain is in a state where you can tap into your subconscious and you have your creativity brain chemicals going. So that's where step number 3 comes in. And then I have my clients connect to a memory, could be from a long time ago or recent, that gave them incredible joy, something that they felt so joyful about. And then I ask them to write down or tell me all the details about that. And in all of that, you will find a key to who you really are. And when you begin to show that feeling in particular to your clients, those that are meant to be in your business will be drawn to you, even if they don't know why.
Wow. That is so powerful. Oh my goodness. I hope that you took notes on that or go back and listen to it and do that exercise. I'm going to do that exercise. That sounds amazing. And this idea of kind of unlocking the creativity of your brain is what I heard, right?
Yes.
And I think, man, there's so much I could say about that exercise because when it comes to drawing, the first thing people might say is, oh, I'm not an artist. Oh, I'm not creative. But you have observed art at its highest, right? You have observed, like you were talking about, this intricate rose, this intricate whatever it is. Like, you have observed the beauty of art all around you. And so your receptors have all of that information, have processed all that information, and can recall that information. And so then to draw it again with that in mind, then you're not looking at it with yourself as the limiting factor.
Exactly.
Wow, that's so powerful. Even when it comes to, brainstorming or whatever, I feel like that would be such a powerful exercise to do
Yes.
before a brainstorming meeting, before,
Yes.
a planning session, before something like that. So, wow, that's gold. Thank you for that right there.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Anytime you need creativity, take a minute and do it. It's really quick, right? And it opens up your mind. It really does. Jailbreaks it.
That's awesome. I love that. So, one of the things that I am super excited to talk to you about today, among all of these other things that we're talking about, is one of the things that we teach is that you have to think of branding in reverse to really tap into the true power of it. And so many people think about branding in the format of, when they used to brand the hide of an animal so they would know whose is whose. But that's not actually what branding is in the common use of the word, right? It's not about, I say this all the time, and I point to these signs here on my back wall, like those are a piece of our branding, but just putting our mark on something is not branding. Branding is the mark that experience, that interaction with you at any level has on the mind of your customers and potential customers. And I know I say that all the time, but I would love to hear some of the neuroscience behind that.
Yeah, well, it goes right along with our discussion. Okay, so someone is attracted to your brand, right? Maybe it's the colors, the logo, the style, whatever. They may not even know why that is, but there's something within them that really is wanting to come out, right? A part of them that they're connecting with something in you, with, what you have, who you are, whatever that happens to be. So when they see your brand, it's igniting these pathways in their brain, right? And then what can happen is beautiful, because if people don't truly know who they are, but they're still drawn to you, right? The more time they spend with you, and the more you reveal through your branding, marketing, or personal sharing, however you want to do that, who you are as a person, the more those special things about them, they begin to highlight, right? And so you, through your branding and marketing, can actually transform someone and help them uncover their identity and walk in their own passion and purpose. And if we could take all of our clients and help them walk in their passion and purpose, I mean, oh my gosh, what kind of incredible place would this world be, So I love that. It does. It transforms your mind. It absolutely, your branding that connects with your identity can transform the minds of your clients and potential clients.
That fires me up so much. So much. Because, the thing that we're so passionate about instilling and empowering business owners with is owning your difference. And so many businesses and business owners are scared to own their difference because they're afraid that it won't be accepted or it won't be enough or something about it. And so that is why there is so much I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute. There's so much bad teaching out there when it comes to marketing about keeping up with everybody else, looking like everybody else. But what you're actually saying is that the impact on the brain is the complete opposite of that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you try to pigeonhole yourself, or you try to, I can't remember what the phrase is, but you kind of copy the style of somebody else who else has tried to do that? We've all tried to do that, right? Some sort of hacking, and it doesn't work, right? Because somebody else, they may even be in the same lane as you, right? But they do not have your unique set of skills, talents, and experiences, which is all of what combines together. And when you show that to the world, you draw in the people that are like you. And so many times we're afraid. Well, what if I show my true self and they aren't drawn in? What does that say about me? But if you continue to show who you truly are and you continue to work on yourself and discover that, right? I use these strategies for myself all the time, right? Because you're going to be still discovering my identity at 90. then the people, they will connect with you, even if they don't know why. And they will begin to be drawn in and set free by whatever product or service you are able to offer them. So.
I love it. See, it's truth. I know what I'm saying is truth, but now you've heard it from a neuroscientist. It's true. You know, we talk about that when you have the courage to own your difference and stand out powerfully and authentically in the marketplace, first of all, it causes you to stand out. Even if there are, as you were saying, 20,000 other people in your lane, nobody is doing it exactly like you because nobody has your exact identity, which is also, by the way, true for your business.
Yes.
There is something unique about the identity of your business, not anything that you have to do, but it's uniquely in the DNA of who your business is, of who your company is. And so when you have the courage to own that and to show up as that in the marketplace, then I just love this conversation about how literally your brain, the brains of your customers, are drawn to you. And we say this, that when you have the courage to be who you are, it draws the people that you're called to serve. But it's not some like woo woo magnetism thing, like it's actually brain science.
It is brain science.
That's fascinating. I love that. What else would you say along those lines?
Oh gosh, I guess I can give an example because one of the things I do is folks will come to me with their website, right, and they'll say, "Oh, can you use your neuroscience tricks to make it more appealing to my customers?" And I said, "Yeah, but we have to have a conversation first." And they say, "No, just do it." I say, "I can't do that. That's not the way it works." Yeah, I mean, well, I like orange. What orange means to me, it could be completely different than what it means to you, right? And so who are you? Who are you? And so we have to have these deep conversations. And sometimes the clients that come to me, they don't want to have that, right? But I'm not going to put my name, like you wouldn't put your name on something that is not connecting with who they are and who they are called to serve. So I think that I just want to really re-emphasize that there's no cookie cutter approach here.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Yes. There isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I love that about, like, again, like we say, and I will say till the cows come home from wherever they went, when you know who you are, you can function from that place. And so this piece about identity, I hope you're hearing this. This isn't only powerful for you, it's powerful for your customers.
Yes.
It's powerful to connect them with you. It's powerful for your marketing. And then it's even powerful for their own breakthrough, right? Because whatever solution that you have, whatever problem that you solve, when they are drawn to you through brain science, also them being drawn to you through this, what's going on in their brain is undoing these tracks that have been laid over their identity so
Right.
they can function in their identity because of you functioning in your identity. And then you're not just solving their problems, you're helping them walk as who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I was thinking of another thing to share with your audience that I think will be very, very helpful to them. If you have customers that are on the fence, right, they're vacillating, they're going back and forth, I want to give you some insight into them. So that's somebody that on a deep level, they're connecting with something about you, but the overlaid tracks are keeping them from moving forward.
Wow.
So the best way to break through that is to show more of yourself to them. So if you're ever on the phone with a client or customer on a Zoom meeting, whatnot, connecting with them in person, if we can still do that nowadays, then, and you see them going back and forth, just take a moment and share a personal story about what you do, what your story, what your background was, or go deeper if you've already shared that. And that client will know very, very quickly, they will move in one direction or the other. They will either move and become your client if they are somebody that you truly are aligned with, right? Or they will know that they're not for you. And that's okay. And we have to not be afraid to do that, right? To not be don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because fear, I could talk for another hour about that. that does
Yeah.
not do good things for your brain, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's so much better if you have any business, if you're a business owner, to know whether somebody wants your services or doesn't want your services. Nobody wants to go chasing after somebody, right?
No, that's so
Because
real.
that doesn't solve anything. So I want the people that want my help and that I can help, I want to help them. And those that don't want my help or don't think they want my help, that's fine. There'll be another time for them. And that key right there really will help them to make their decision very, very quickly.
Wow. That's just, man, it's just so huge. And this just excites me so much because this is where I feel like the marketing industry has gotten it wrong for so many years and really like sold a false bill of goods to
Mhm.
business owners. And so, where it's all about keeping up with the trends and doing this and doing more and looking like everybody else. And, the thing that I come back to all the time is we get, requests all the time for us to do their brand.
Mhm.
But if they won't do that identity session with us, we
Right.
don't book that client.
Exactly.
And so many businesses go into, and now I'm talking about the visual part of your brand, which, as we know, is not the fullness of your brand, it's one piece. But this is where so many, man, and I want to say this with communicating the passion that's in my heart, not the frustration, but I just see business owners spend so much money
Mhm.
on quote unquote branding and even marketing that doesn't work because it's disconnected from who you are. It's disconnected from the identity of your company. And, we just throw stuff out there, or you just go to, Fiverr or 99 Designs or whatever. And I mean, do what you need to do, what makes financial sense for where you're at in your business. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But I will say you better have a strategy associated with that,
Mhm.
because most people just slap a graphic on something and say they have a brand. And
Mhm.
that's not actually your brand. And then you end up sending mixed messages that create a brand in the marketplace that's not good, because people know that your business is not aligned with its identity and they can feel it a mile away, even if they can't articulate it. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. And the it saddens me to see this because a business could literally fail because of this reason. And then the wonderful gift that somebody, a business owner, has to give to the world and help them to break free from something won't get out there in quite that same way because of something simple like this that you just don't know. But now you know, you're listening to this, and now you know. So
Yeah.
connect with your identity and your branding and your marketing.
This is so valuable. So we talked about identity and how goal setting is connected with your identity, and
Right.
how identity connects in the minds of your customers and potential customers and allows them to connect with identity. You've just been dropping so much gold. Are there any other keys along this lines that you want to share with these business owners today?
I think that that process that I gave you, I think is really the biggest nugget that I can share with your audience, and I would just encourage you to try it. It sounds very simple. It's one of those things that sounds like, what in the world is that going to do, until you do it, and then you'll really see a powerful transformation. So I'd love to hear as your audience tries that out, and because I know
Yeah.
how it works in my clients, and it's really, really a wonderful experience to go through.
And I bet that would be a really powerful experience to do as a team as well.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
when you're talking about your business, as the business owner, you know the identity of your business better than anybody else because that idea was entrusted to you, right?
Mhm.
There is also something so important and powerful with making sure that your entire team knows the identity of your business so that you're not sending mixed messages out there. So, a good example of this was an organization that I consulted with a few years ago, and they had about 5 different people managing their Instagram,
Mhm.
right? And it was just kind of mostly volunteer based, and whoever could at any point in time, which that's a real thing that happens. Or sometimes in a business, a lot of people wear that hat, right?
Mhm.
But every single person who posted out of their identity.
Right.
not the identity of the organization. And so you had some that were a little more educational, and you had some that were a little bit more rough, and you had some that were a little bit more, laid back, colloquial, whatever. And so you have all of these different messages being sent about who this organization is. And there wasn't that cohesive, this is the identity of this organization, which, by the way, was a very visible community organization. And so I feel like as businesses, first of all, whoever is handling your marketing better know the identity of your company at
Absolutely.
any level, which also includes your customer service reps.
Right. No, I think that's very true. And it's really important too, because as entrepreneurs, we all start out as solopreneurs for the most part, unless we're independently wealthy. And so our business really has a lot of our identity in it to start with, right? And then as we take on a team, that can actually change some, right? That can transform, because as other team members come in, they're going to show you a different perspective too. And as you treat, you have more and more clients, right? You're going to learn more and more about what that business identity needs to grow into. And it's really important as CEOs to separate yourself from your business identity. Yes, your business identity, it'll always have part of you, but it is distinct, and it is evolving too, just like you're evolving. And so having that strategy session, I think frequently, and then listening to your team members, you brought them on for a reason, right?
That's right.
Listening to them and crafting that business identity together is really, really powerful. I mean, obviously you have to make final decisions, but that is so important. I think with that transition that a lot of us find ourselves in about 3 years into our business, right? Getting a team under us. So.
Definitely. And then from there, you can have that, for all of our clients, we build something called the Brand ID Navigator. You can have those guidelines to move forward, and you can definitely revisit that and do make sure that that's still congruent with who you are.
Mhm.
But then you can communicate that consistently. So whether it's through your marketing, through your customer experience, through your customer journey, through, your social media, through can they navigate your website, all of these things, through their interactions with you over email, all of this needs to be consistent with the identity of your business, because at any little point there where there's breakdown, you just broke, if not chipped away at their trust.
Right.
And trust is the power of branding.
It is. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's that consistency I know that you talk about all the time. Although I do love, I don't know which podcast this was, but I recently heard you speak about rest,
Yes.
which I love. And we all have to take that. So, but yeah, yes, consistency is important, but I will also say we can get trapped in a rut. Okay.
True.
And when you start losing your joy for what you are doing, it's time to take a shift, even if it's a small shift. Sometimes it's a big shift, but it's a cue. Your emotions, I'm going to share this with you. Your emotions are like a thermometer. Okay. So let's say you were sick and you took your temperature and it's 103. And what do we normally do? We either go to the doctor, we take some medicine, something, we don't just sit there with it. What do most of us do? We have emotions, right? Anger, sadness, whatever. And you do nothing. You just sit in it. That's like taking your temperature and finding it's 103 degrees and being like, okay, well, I have a temperature.
Wow.
And doing nothing about it. Your emotions are a clue that there is something out of alignment. And if it's related to your business, I mean, outside of course, major personal things going on at the same time, it's usually a sign that there's something that needs a minor shift. And the more in tune you are to that, so the more in tune you are to yourself, right? And the more in tune you are to your emotions, the faster you can make that shift. And that's how you we could stay ahead of the market, but our goal is to help as many people as we can. So,
Yeah. And I would add to that, that goes back to this conversation of when you know who you're not, you can function from your
yes.
identity and freedom. And so I know for me personally, whether it's in the business or my personal life, when I start to feel that temperature rising, it's usually because even well intentioned, right? But I've stepped out of functioning in my identity,
Yes.
and I've started either, following shoulds They say you should do this, or things that I felt I needed to do, whether out of obligation or this is what a good business owner does or something like that.
Mhm.
But I've actually started to veer off from identity. And
Mhm.
then when I recognize that and I can say, wait a minute, this is not who I am, this is who I am, that's when things align, even in my emotions for me.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's very true. You know, you asked me for one other nugget, and I'm going to share with you one more.
Sure.
So, whenever you're faced with a decision or in that situation where you know something is a little bit off, one of the best things, the best questions you can ask yourself is this: what would I do if I weren't afraid?
Mm.
And by asking that question, you will always, always go to the right decision. Because when you have removed fear from your brain, then you allow those creativity centers to work, right? Those brain chemicals that are responsible for new ideas and inspiration to start working. And that path is really laid out very, very clearly before you.
Wow, that's so good. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, this episode is a gold mine. I know I'm definitely going to listen to it multiple times and take notes. Darlene, thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom with us today. What is the best way? Because I know people are going to want to connect with you. What is the best way for them to connect with you and your businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Rachel, first of all, for having me. This has been amazing. And folks can connect with me at drdarlenemayo.com. And I'm also Dr. Darlene A. Mayo on every social media you can think of: Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram. So I'm pretty much everywhere at that handle. So you can connect with me in whichever way you prefer. And I offer some free consultations as well if you're moving even beyond the step where you are bringing folks to their freedom, then I'm happy to pick up there and help you even further.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Wow. Well, I normally say, I hope you found great value in today's episode, but I know for a fact that you did. So please rate, review, subscribe, and share this with somebody who needs to hear what we talked about today. It would really mean the world to both Darlene and I if you would do that. We want to empower and equip as many leaders of business as we can to rock your brand like a boss. I'll catch you on the next episode. Keep rocking.